I wasn't supposed to be there that late, but she didn't ask me to leave, and I didn't offer. The house had that quiet, end-of-day stillness. The kind where the hum of the fridge feels too loud and footsteps sound like trespassing. My friend had gone out, something last minute. Some girl, I think. He told me to hang back, finish the game we'd started on the big TV. Said his mom wouldn't care. He was right. She didn't. She came down the stairs with a towel in her hair and a glass of wine in her hand. "Still here?" she said, smiling like she already knew the answer. She didn't ask why. I nodded, suddenly aware of how small the controller felt in my hand. Didn't mean to overstay. I can head out. But she shook her head. "Don't be silly." She padded barefoot to the couch, wearing a black long sleeve and loose gray sweats that somehow looked better on her than anything tight. Her nails were painted, dark, chipped at the edges, and she smelled like clean sheets and whatever conditioner she used. "I forget how quiet the house gets when he's not here," she said, tucking one leg under her as she sat. I paused the game, not really sure if I should keep playing. She leaned over, her eyes on the screen. "You're losing," she said, nudging my arm with hers. "Not anymore," I said, though my fingers didn't move. Her touch stayed on my arm a second too long. She caught me watching her, just for a beat. No smile. Just that unreadable expression older women have, like they know something you don't. Then she turned away and took a sip of her wine. I looked at the pause screen, then back at her. "How come you never remarried?" I asked. I didn't mean to. It just came out. She raised an eyebrow. "That's blunt." "I just meant most people. Move on," she finished. "Start over." I shrugged. "Yeah." She exhaled. "I tried. But starting over feels fake after a certain point. You stop wanting to be someone's new beginning." I didn't know what to say to that, so I didn't. She reached for the throw blanket, then changed her mind. "You always make me hot," she murmured, half laughing. "Not like," she stopped herself. "You know what I mean." She stood and slid off her jacket. I hadn't realized she'd even been wearing one, and tossed it over the back of the chair. Her shirt clung to her in a way that felt unfair, but I kept my eyes up. "You okay?" she asked suddenly, noticing the silence in me now. "Yeah," I said, but my voice was tight. We weren't touching, but something was. Like air between magnets. She sat again, closer this time. "It's weird, isn't it?" she said softly. "Being here alone." I nodded. She looked at me. Long enough that I felt it in my stomach. "I forget how old you are sometimes," she said. "I don't," I said too fast. I know I'm not." But she was already turning her head, half smiling, half something else. I reached for the controller again just to do something with my hands. I missed it on the first try. The doorbell rang. She froze. I froze. Then she looked at me, not like a mom, not like anything I'd seen before. Just one look, and it changed everything. It was just a delivery, groceries or something. She took the bag with a polite thank you and closed the door like nothing had happened. Like I wasn't sitting in her living room trying to pretend that her last look hadn't torn a line straight through my chest. She walked back in slowly, brushing hair off her cheek. The wine glass was still on the table. The controller sat beside me like a forgotten excuse. "You hungry?" she asked, not looking at me. "A little." She opened the fridge. He used to bring all his friends here when he was 12. You guys would tear through 2 pizzas like you hadn't eaten in days. I smiled. "We still could." "You were always the quiet one," she said, pulling out leftovers. "I was scared of you," I admitted. "You were intense." She gave a dry laugh. "That's generous." She warmed the food in silence. I watched her move, calm, precise, like someone used to being alone. Not lonely, just used to it. "My husband left when I was 39, she said suddenly, like it had been waiting in her throat. "For someone 10 years younger. Yoga instructor." She didn't say it bitterly. More like she was reading off a label. I didn't know. No one ever does. That's the trick. She handed me a plate and sat across from me at the table. "Your turn." "For what?" "Tell me something I'm not supposed to know." I hesitated. Then, "I used to fake reasons to come over. Even when your son wasn't home. She blinked once, then laughed. But it was quiet, almost unsure. You were a weird kid. I smiled. Still am. We ate in silence for a minute. Not awkward, just full. Something between us had shifted, and we both felt it. I didn't want to get divorced, she said. But I hated who I became after. Always guarded. Always older than I wanted to be. You don't seem old, I said. Don't try to be charming now. I'm not trying. She didn't answer. Just sipped her wine. I wanted to say so many things. That I always noticed her. That she moved like she didn't want to be noticed, which made it worse. That she smiled like it was a choice, not a reflex. That every time I stayed over, I thought about her in the guest room, a few walls away. But I said none of it. Instead, I reached to take her plate. Our fingers brushed, just barely. She didn't move her hand, and I didn't pull mine back. Not for a long second. When she finally did, it wasn't fast. It was soft, deliberate. She looked at me with something between apology and challenge. We're not really having this conversation, she said. I know, I said. But we are. Neither of us got up. And no one reached for the dishes. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She didn't check it. I tried not to look like I was watching her too closely, but every part of me was. The way she stood near the sink. The way she kept her hands busy even though we were done eating. The way her eyes flicked to the window like someone might be watching. We weren't doing anything. Not really. But it felt like we had already crossed a line just by thinking it. The silence was starting to say too much. I should go, I said, standing suddenly, breaking the spell. She nodded, but too fast. Yeah, of course. I took a step back, then another. She didn't move. Then her phone buzzed again. She finally grabbed it this time. Read the screen. Her face changed. Everything okay? I asked. It's him, she said. Your friend. He's on his way back. Now. She nodded, setting the phone down like it stung. I could feel my pulse in my ears. This wasn't a movie. There was no dramatic music. Just the hum of the fridge again. My keys in my pocket. The ghost of her hand still brushing mine. She walked me to the door. Or maybe I walked there, and she just followed. At the doorway, she paused. Too close. I said it without meaning to. You don't look at anyone else the way you look at me. She didn't answer right away. She just stared at me, and I saw it then. The part of her she didn't show anyone. The part that wanted. That missed being seen. Her hand was on the doorknob, but her body didn't turn. I can't do this, she said. You're his friend. You're a kid. I'm not. She turned then, halfway, and looked up at me like she wished I hadn't said it. I wasn't planning this, she whispered. Me either. She leaned in. I didn't. But I didn't move back. Then we heard it. Tires on gravel. Headlights flashed across the hallway wall. Her son was home. She stepped back, fast. Hair falling in her face. Go, she whispered. I opened the door. Heart racing. Hey. My friend's voice called from the driveway. You're still here. Just leaving. I called back, forcing a smile. He was walking up with a bag of food and a grin, oblivious. Mom, cook you dinner again. She spoils you more than me. She appeared behind me, laughing too loudly. He eats like a stray cat. Can't let him starve. I didn't look at her. I didn't trust what my face would give away. He held the door open wider. Come crash for a bit, man. I got stories. I hesitated. And I felt it. Her fingers brushing my back. Light. Gone in a second. But not imagined. Next time, I said, stepping away. I've got somewhere to be. I didn't. But I had to get out of that house before I said something we'd never be able to take back. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, standing in the doorway, not kissing me. That look in her eyes, the one she tried to swallow the second her son pulled into the driveway. I should have left it alone. But I didn't. The next night, I texted her. Did you mean it? She didn't reply for 2 hours. I'd already told myself I was pathetic, that she was probably laughing about it. But then, yes. That was it. Just one word. And it hit harder than any paragraph she could have written. I told her I was outside. There was a long pause. Then the porch light flicked on. She answered in a robe, like she'd just gotten out of the shower. Hair damp. No makeup. bare feet on the wood. Jesus, she whispered. Are you crazy? Probably. She looked past me, out toward the street. No cars. No sound but crickets and the hum of a far-off TV through someone's window. He's not home, I asked. He's staying at his girlfriend's, she said. Why are you here? You know why. No, she said, voice tightening. You think you know why. You're young. Everything feels intense at your age. That doesn't make it real. I'm not in high school, I said, stepping closer. Stop treating me like I don't know what I want. You don't. She said it too fast, too sharp, like she needed me to believe it more than she did. I stared at her. Say you don't think about me. Say it, and I'll leave. She looked like she might. Mouth open, eyes hard. Then she closed it. I don't want to wreck you, she said quietly. I don't want you looking back 10 years from now and hating me for something we couldn't stop. Stop what? She didn't answer. She stepped back and let me inside. We sat in the kitchen again. The same table, the same wine glass. Only this time, she didn't sit across from me. She sat beside me. Not close, but not far enough. You think I don't feel it? She said, voice low. Every time you look at me like I'm the only person in the room? You think I don't want to? She stopped herself. I feel like a goddamn fool. You're not. I'm your friend's mother. I'm not a kid anymore. You're still a risk I can't afford. Silence. Her hand rested on the table, fingers curled inward. I didn't reach for it. I couldn't, but I leaned closer, just enough to see her breath catch. I think about you every night, I said. That's not going away. Her hand twitched. Just once. I heard the air shift between us. Then the front door opened. We both froze. Footsteps. Her son. Mom, his voice called out. She didn't move. I looked at her, eyes wide, lips parted. And she looked back, like something was about to break. Her son stepped into the kitchen just as I stood from the table, heart punching at my ribs. Didn't know you were here again, he said, tossing his keys onto the counter. What is this, the third night this week? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. She saved me. He left something here, she said, tone too casual. Texted, said he was coming by. He looked between us. You good? I nodded. Too fast. Yeah. Cool. He grabbed a soda from the fridge. I'm wiped. Jules broke up with me. What? She asked, startled. He shrugged. Her parents didn't like me, whatever. I'm over it. But the crack in his voice said otherwise. She moved toward him instinctively. I didn't even know things were that serious. We were together 6 months. She blinked. God, I'm sorry, honey. He shook his head, eyes suddenly glassy. Can we not? Just, I'll be in my room. He left his soda on the counter, unopened, and walked away. The door closed down the hall. She didn't move, just stared at the untouched drink. I didn't even ask, she whispered. I was so caught up in my own mess. I didn't even know my son was falling apart. It's not your fault, I said. She turned to me, slow. You are my mess, she said. Don't you get that? That hit harder than I expected. You didn't have to let me in last night. You shouldn't have come. I stepped back. So what are we doing? Regretting it now that the lights are on. Her face flickered. Regret. Maybe, but not about the night. She swallowed. I saw your messages. What? She walked to the counter, opened a drawer, pulled out her son's phone. He left it here earlier. You didn't text me, did you? My mouth went dry. He read them. She nodded, jaw tight. And he didn't say anything? Not yet. The room dropped 10 degrees. My stomach turned over. I was going to delete them, she said. I didn't. I couldn't. So he knows. He will. My breath caught. What's he going to do? I don't know. Her voice cracked. But if I lose him because of this, she didn't finish. I sat back down hard. I didn't plan this, I said, quieter. But I'd still choose it. She looked at me, eyes red. You'd choose me, over your best friend? I didn't answer, because I didn't know. The weight of it all slammed into the space between us. The guilt, the want, the risk, the almosts. And now, no hiding, no safety, no denial. She reached for the wine glass again, but her hand was shaking this time. From the hallway, The sound of her son's door creaked open. He was coming back. Her son stood in the hallway. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. The way he looked at us, not angry, not shocked, just aware, it cut deeper than yelling ever could. My stomach bottomed out. "You going to tell me the truth?" he asked. Voice steady, eyes only on her. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. I stood. "It's my fault." He turned to me. "I didn't ask you." She blinked hard, like trying to stay anchored. "Nothing happened," she said. "Not really." "But it almost did," he said. "Right?" Silence. Her hands were clasped tight in front of her, like she was bracing for impact. "Yes," she finally whispered. He looked at her for a long moment. Then me. "I trusted both of you." "I know," I said. "I didn't mean—" "Yeah, you did," he snapped. "You meant to. You came around all the time, and I thought it was just hanging out. I thought you were my friend." "I was." He shook his head. "No, you were waiting." That landed harder than I expected, because maybe he wasn't wrong. She stepped forward. He didn't wait. I let him in. "I crossed lines too." "I don't care," he said. "I don't care whose fault it is. It's done. It's screwed up either way." Then he turned back to me. "Leave." I didn't move. Not until she spoke, barely louder than a breath. "Go." I looked at her, and something collapsed in my chest. Not because she didn't want me, because she did, and was still choosing him. And I understood. I nodded, jaw clenched, throat tight. I walked to the door. Didn't say goodbye. I don't know how long I sat in my car. I didn't turn the engine on. I didn't move. Just stared at the street lights bending through the windshield, thinking about everything that hadn't happened and how much louder that felt than anything that did. Then I heard a knock. She was standing outside my window, arms crossed over her chest. I rolled it down. Her voice was calm. "He's gone to a friend's. Said he doesn't want to talk for a while." I nodded. "I told him everything," she said. "Not just the facts. Everything. That we almost ruined everything for something we're still pretending isn't real." The porch light buzzed behind her. "Do you regret it?" I asked. She looked away. "I regret that I didn't stop it sooner. That I didn't tell you no the first time I felt it starting." I swallowed. "But you felt it." She nodded once. "Yeah." Silence stretched between us. Then she said, "You should go." I didn't ask when I could come back. I didn't beg her to change her mind. I just looked at her, messy, brave, completely undone, and for the first time, we weren't hiding. She stepped back from the car, and I drove away, heart cracked wide open. 3 weeks passed. I didn't text her. She didn't call. Her son blocked me, everywhere. Which made sense. I earned that silence. I spent the first week convincing myself I hadn't lost anything, that she was a phase, that it wasn't real. The second week, I couldn't stop replaying it. The look in her eyes at the door, how her voice cracked when she said, "You should go." By week 3, I knew I'd never be able to pretend it didn't matter. I was at the grocery store when I saw her again. She was by herself, reading the back of a cereal box like it held all the answers. She looked tired. Not worse, just worn in a way I hadn't seen before. More real. I almost turned around. Almost walked out. But I didn't. She noticed me first. We just stood there, staring. Then she gave the smallest nod. No smile. No pretending. We sat in her car. Windows down. Quiet. That same in-between space we always found ourselves in. Not quite right. Not quite wrong. "I didn't think I'd see you again," she said. "Neither did I." She looked at her hands. "He's still not talking to me." "I'm sorry." She shook her head. "It's not your apology to make." Pause. "Do you miss me?" I asked. She didn't look up. "Every night." I exhaled through my nose. "So do I." Then she turned to me, and for the first time since that night, she didn't hold anything back. "I didn't end this because I didn't care," she said. "I ended it because I cared too much. I needed to put him first. But that doesn't mean I stopped thinking about you. It doesn't mean I stopped wanting you to knock on my door." I didn't speak. I let her sit with the weight of it. Then she said, "I'm not asking for a second chance. I'm not even sure what we are, or if this could ever work. But I want to be honest, even if it's too late." It's not too late, I said. She blinked, slowly. I reached for her hand, gently, like asking a question. She didn't pull away this time. We sat there, holding on, not knowing what came next, just breathing in the same small space. And somehow that was enough. We're not pretending it's easy now. Her son still won't talk to me. We haven't told anyone else. There's no roadmap for this kind of thing. But we talk. We listen. We take it slow. And when I look at her now, I don't see guilt anymore. I see someone who chose to feel, even when it cost her. And she looks at me like she finally believes I'm not just a kid who didn't know better, but someone who loved her anyway. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to start over. Not perfectly, but honestly. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Let me know in the comments, and hit follow for more stories that feel just a little too real.